Okay, everybody. So we are live with the CBC podcast once again here on Twitch first, and you guys are getting it on YouTube, and of course, then after that, you get it on iTunes and everywhere else we have this at. Is the Zune still a thing? Does anybody know?
Um, After Guardians 2, people have been buying them off of eBay.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah, I think they've been going for like 120 to 150 right now.
it's for the cosplay, yo.
Yeah, because before they were like almost like junk tier, you get them for like $20 a couple years ago.
I mean, oh, they're junk tier now.
Well, I would say they were junk tier when they came out. So,
True. So has anything changed apart from the price?
No joke. The first ever, like, when the CBC podcast was, like, in its early days, I remember them coming at us, and, like, the Zune Marketplace was like, we can make your podcast exclusive here, and here's an offer. And I was like, so no one listens to it? Yeah, that's worth it.
Was Zune about back then?
Um,
Like 2011.
yeah, like, they were still struggling, as, believe it or not, like, 3 or 4 years ago or something, so...
I know they had the Xbox 360 app, didn't they? Yeah.
They were trying to morph all of it into one marketplace at that time.
Yeah.
I remember that. It's just like, Zune? What the hell is this thing? Like, oh,
Yeah, they were weird about that, but of course, this is your host Armin talking. You guys can go find me on Twitch at Arminies and at Comic Book Cast, of course, for the whole channel. And I'm here with Mitch
so, find me at Mitch692.
and also Tristan.
I'm back, and you can catch me at Control Breakers.
Yep, man. So people wondering why we're doing this slightly later than what we did last week. So essentially, if there was a big old storm right above me, and if we do it, the stream will kind of glitch out and the sound quality. So I was like, if we wait till about 2, it should pass me by 30 minutes. So it has. It's really nice and bright outside now.
Yeah. When you said that, I didn't understand because I don't know what rain is.
Yeah, lucky you.
Alright.
It's only sunshine for like the next 8 months. So.
But, like, how'd you get water?
Oh, we get it from most of the water. It usually comes from out of state.
Or...
Yeah, I mean, look at those droughts that they have there every year. They're essentially Mad Maxing in like the desert over there. So.
Yeah, just imagine trying to go outside and then not bursting into flames.
If you had water, that wouldn't happen. Fly around.
That's true. So while we're all here, we're just going to get right into the first topic at hand. So let's talk about Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which earlier today released the first official trailer.
I am happy because Mitch kept saying it was going to be trash.
I never said this movie.
Yeah, you did. You did.
Say this movie was going to be trash.
Yeah, you did. Don't make me go get the Twitter pics.
Go get the right now. I need to do this. I never said
Okay.
this
I'll get them.
movie. I do
I'll be right back.
cool evidence. I want that shit printed and laminated.
He's gone photoshopping fake things like they do of Sapphire things we post. Look what you said. I was like, that's clearly photoshopped and out of context, but sure. So here's the thing. I was expecting this movie to look good and to be good. But when this trailer wraps up, I was just blown away with how much love and care Marvel and Sony seem to have put into this animated film.
It looks like a comic book. Like they're using actual comic book techniques. Like you got the whole pinpoint shading. You got the little editor's note for like speech bubbles or thought bubbles. Like I don't know. It looks like something special.
It does. Now, the weird thing I think about it is, and I actually like it, but if you watch it, there's almost like this deliberate attempt to make the frame rate a little bit skippy, almost like how they do in the Lego movies, and I think that lends a certain amount of quality and uniqueness to it as well.
Yeah, aren't they trying to emulate stop motion as well?
I think they might be.
Yeah,
That's what I got from it.
Yeah, and they have that, and on top of it, like if you look at the out of focus stuff, like there's like a weird old style 3D, like where you have just a flat coloured overlays coming off people. Like, so if you look at Peter's shoulder when they're in the restaurant, like it's like I think it's green and yellow or something like that. Just a weird, old 3D effect coming up.
Well, it's also a very vibrant movie. Like the colors just pop everywhere. Like it looks like someone took some acid or like the Blade Runner-y stylized look of the future. Like it was very different looking. Which once again, when it comes to this movie coming out only a few weeks after Venom, I think we know which one's going to be the huge success. So, now let's dive into some of the story elements. What did you guys think of the story that they're presenting here? And I love, honestly, how Miles' dad is presented.
Same. They definitely changed, or it looks like they changed a few things.
They changed it because Miles' dad was, I think, was it undercover Shield agent.
Didn't that come later on?
Well, it was in the original run. I think it was hinted at, but it never went anywhere until he got integrated into the main Marvel universe.
Yeah,
that was the only thing,
wasn't he? Like in the first.
Yeah. It was hinted at because I think there was there was a callback to when Aaron and Jefferson were working undercover for Shield, trying to pin something down on Kingpin, but it never went anywhere after that.
See, I can't remember. Like I can remember him being Shield recently. It's like, Bendis is.
It was just hinted at him being undercover, like a double agent for Shield, but not officially a Shield agent until like the current run.
Like all I can remember of the old stuff is that him and Aaron
But I can't remember which. I know this is not actual Peter; it's an AU Spider-Man, but I can't remember which Spider-Man this one is. The one that wears sweatpants and one Timberland boot. That's going to be his teacher.
I think it's probably just going to be Peter Parker and not
because there is a Spider-Man that is essentially that.
Like, just for this one, they're just going to go with it's just Peter Parker. This is
Well, I mean, they don't want to tie themselves down and be like, "Hey, it's the Tobey Maguire version." It's like it's their own slightly version. Because I mean, it's not like it's the ultimate version of Miles, right? Like they're obviously changing elements around, which I think you need to do that for the translation from the page to the big screen, obviously, because I don't think it's like a 1-to-1. I don't think that would work.
Obviously, it's an adaptation because we don't even see Gank anywhere in this trailer. It's just Miles as himself going to a prep school, which is really, really interesting to see if they take it a little bit further in to see what life is like at the prep school and not just, cut to when Miles and Peter are interacting.
Mm-hmm.
What I want to know is, in the teaser we saw Parker's gravestone. But in this, Spider-Man's clearly around at that time.
So, do you think it's maybe the Peter Parker of the Ultimate Universe is dead? Like, that's what they're implying because he's going to be jumping into the Spider-Verse. He meets with a different one to train him? Because that's the only thing I can think of.
That's more the consensus of what people are saying is that in this trailer here, we see that in the beginning, Ultimate Peter and Miles meet during the Goblin fight. And in the other trailer, the beginning of the first trailer, we see that there's a tombstone for him. Obviously, he dies at a certain point in the movie, and that the AU Spider-Man that he meets is not the Peter he knows, but they know that there needs to be a Spider-Man. So there's only one person that can teach him is that one.
Yeah.
I suppose that kind of fits in with there's a line Peter says in this, or is it Miles, where it's like this is different universes. There's only one, and it's not the one you know.
Yeah. He says, I think it was I think it's like the universe there's only one Spider-Man, but this is a completely different one.
Yeah.
Well, what I like is it opens them up to use more Spider characters, and I know not a lot of people watch the current Marvel Spider-Man cartoon, and it varies in quality from week to week, and sometimes it dips real low, and it's usually right around middle level, but like that show introduces spiders every freaking episode. Like I'm like at the point where I'm like, who's who? Like everybody's a spider at this point. So it seems they want that toy marketing. I think that's what they're doing. Yeah,
they obviously play off of that in the later part of the trailer where we see Peter and Miles training with the web slinging, and we see Spider-Gwen show up, and even that Spider-Man doesn't know who Spider-Gwen is because he asks, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
Let's say the right name is Ghost Spider now.
Fine.
Can't have confused marketing. It is
I
Ghost
think
Spider.
I'm the only one who's always hated calling her Spider-Gwen. I was like, that's so dumb. You automatically narrow what her name is. I was like, so I like Ghost Spider, honestly. I might be in the minority, but I really like that name more, so.
It was only her title that was called Spider Gwen
Yeah.
because she's Spider Woman in that series. So
Right.
you couldn't two at the same time. But Spider Gwen is what it is. Yeah, I'm not a fan.
I do see, like, I saw on Twitter after I watched the trailer, some of her fans are getting kind of mad because she's not wearing Converse, she's wearing ballerina shoes.
She wears Converse.
Yeah, in her actual comic series, she wears Converse.
I haven't read Spider-Gwen since the original first run in like the first 5 issues or something, so.
I don't remember Converse in that, so.
Yeah.
I just little green slip-ons. But I mean, who cares really? But like, I don't know. There's a line in this where he says it's actually in that same scene. Like, there's more Spider-Man.
Oh, you mean the Comic-Con jam?
Yeah, and Parker says, "Wait till Comic-Con." Is like, are they being meta there and saying Con's gonna have more of them?
Probably.
I think so. Yeah, because just being real from how I've seen the marketing, like in the last year from Marvel, like Spider-Punk is going to be in this movie. I guarantee it because he has toys now. I've seen a poster with him front and center. I've seen him marketed for like the video game. So it's like, I think they're going to definitely announce that he's somehow in this and show him off at like Comic-Con or something because. Once again, that character has a unique, different style and look, and they've been pushing all these different versions of Spider-Man everywhere, so it's really not going to surprise me if there are more revealed at Comic-Con.
Yeah, I'll 5 hypothetically.
It could be a Comic-Con, but also I feel like next week is E3.
Oh yeah,
and they have Spider-Man that's going to be on full display at Sony's press conference, so they might try and to drum hype for both the movie and the video game at the same time.
I'm gonna put money down that the Neon Genesis Spider is gonna be in this movie because why wouldn't you have it in there? 'Cause that's getting a push as well.
Oh, you mean was her name Spider or something like that?
Something like that.
Well, who do you guys think is going to be the villain of the story?
Isn't it Ultimate Goblin, Aaron, and Kingpin?
Yeah, because that's what it seems to be showing. I'm like, I wonder if there's something more, because once again, they're dealing with Spider-Verse. I'm like, did they bring in, like, Moreland and all those dudes, or...
I hope not.
Don't start off like that. Make it relatively small first.
Like, if you could do that, like, have that in the third one or something, then you can bring the Spider-Verse thing full circle, but... I don't know, now, like, try and keep it as small and personal as possible. Like, you don't need necessarily a villain. Like, have someone in the background, but keep the focus on Miles.
Yeah, you don't need to Amazing Spider-Man the hell out of this on the first outing, Which, yeah.
Oh, one was it? Someone here. Well, John says, which alternate Spider-Person would you like to see more of in Spider-Verse film, or in the Spider-Verse film?
I'm gonna stick with the Genesis one. It looks cool. It's different.
Yep. Like, I would honestly like to see 2099 show up.
I guarantee. I bet.
Just because I feel like he needs his own movie, because it'd be so different and unique and stylized. I think they could pull it off. And if there's one place you want to test out a 2099, this is it. This is where you put it in, like when any spider can show up at anything and really make his best impression. So,
also, this style of animation for a 2099 would be incredible.
Oh God! Oh.
Like, this is insane as it is. Like, have that, but with like all future stuff. Like,
yeah.
Something.
And you're not limited to actual actors or anything, so you just imagine how crazy they could go with CG and making the city look grandiose and stuff. Oh my God. Yeah, it'd be quite amazing. So.
Yeah, just for me personally, it's like the interactions between both Peter and Miles, to where like this Peter's so broken down that he can't even order a burger and has to mooch off of a kid for a free meal.
What's the actor for this? The guy from New Girl, I can't remember his name. I want to say it's like Jake Nicholson or something like that. Is a really good choice. Like, it's a really different Peter Parker voice.
See, that's the only thing I didn't like. I didn't like his voice. I was like, ooh, I don't know. Maybe it'll be better in the final, but like in the trailer, I just wasn't feeling it so far.
Like, it was a bit different at first. It's just like, oh, this isn't... But like, as it went on and you see his face and he's got grey hair and the stubble, it's like, actually, no, I really like this type of Peter. Of course, he'd be going grey because of all the stress.
Yeah. So I guess that's going to wrap up our talk on the whole Spider-Verse and, and pretty much everything they're going to be talking about here. Once we know more, of course, this is going to pop up in more topics, which brings us to our next topic. So, comic book films typically have giant set pieces and giant battles because, well, they're comic book films. And recently there was a video that's really made the rounds. A dude breaks down in like 10 minutes on why he feels that the DC films, like, their action sequences are not that good. And he makes some valid points, which I can agree with, but he also makes some that I'm like, well, I don't know about that. So essentially what he says is, like, when you watch an MCU movie, everything and everybody has a certain way they move and they have physics. So, like, Spider-Man acts a certain way, and when he gets hit, he reacts a certain way. And depending on who hits him, there's weight behind it and things like that. And when you go over to the DC films, it's just two people pummeling each other, and that's it. There's no real physics. It seems like almost like a video game, like Injustice. And I will agree with that. That is a big thing, because that's why I never got invested into Man of Steel, because they're just tossing each other around like it's pointless. Like, there's really nothing to it,
You don't like Dragon Ball Z fights?
No. I mean, I like them in the game, but that's it.
Surely that's like the inherent problem with DC. They are supposed to be these big, like, bombastic fights. They're gods.
Yeah.
So, like, can you really apply that sort of, like, oh, they don't obey the physics? Like, well, of course they don't. Like, look at them.
Right. And that's where I don't agree with it, because I said I agree and I disagree. I don't agree with it because it's like, if I want to see Superman fighting somebody like, let's say, what was the dude from Justice League? The CGI? Steppenwolf. Yes. When he's fighting Steppenwolf, I want to see Superman pummeling him into the ground, because that's the only thing you can do. Because that's really the only thing you can do, because, like, Steppenwolf is a powerful, like, new god's freaking beast, right? But at the same time, he points out, it's like, in the Marvel fights, usually they're doing this, and then they'll say something that's personal and ties into something, and DC, their line goes, I'm gonna stop you. And there's none of that human connection. I'm like, I agree there while I disagree on other parts of that whole conversation. So it's like, well, I don't know.
I disagree with you slightly, because the whole, like, Superman's got how many powers? He doesn't have to just punch things.
Oh, yeah.
He has too many to count, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, like, none of them have just, well, actually, I suppose Wonder Woman has got just punching. But, like, Aquaman, they had that end set piece in Justice League in Russia, away from the water.
Yep.
Like, why didn't you get creative with it? And that's another thing this guy says, like, there's no creativity in the power set. And it's like, yeah, that's true.
Yep, I agree with that 100%, because there isn't any. Like you said, with Superman's powers, he should be combining heat vision, forming like a tornado, setting that tornado on fire, and then, like, using frost breath to freeze a person in their tracks and punch them into it or something. Like, it should be a spectacle when Superman is fighting. Instead, we get reduced down to ping pong balls hitting each other in the sky. And I'm like, it's visually, it's entertaining for that time, but there's no depth to it. Where if we go over and look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe, when you see all of them fighting Thanos, when he shows up in Wakanda, what does he do? He's literally flicking his wrist and everybody's flying because they can't do anything. Because he's just like, yeah, look at me. I know how to use this thing. Like, there is a difference of weight and emotion behind it. And I know a lot of people love the DCU fights. I find them entertaining, but I don't find myself invested in them because, well, the characters aren't investing me in their stories. So I think there's a lot of valid points that are made in the video and subsequent articles that have been posted since, which, boy, there's been plenty of those.
Yeah, and just to kind of, like, be in the middle, what he's saying about the DC fights is why I didn't like the third act of Black Panther. Because it's exactly, it's just punching. They're not being creative with the suits when you have this little explosion bit. Sure, you see them a couple of times, but it's not anything special. And, like, the CG is bad, and, it's very much like how the DC ones handle it. And it's just like, oh. But then you get everything else, like the Thanos fight on Titan, and, like, the Wakanda bit, it all just excels, and then you have these little character moments because people care about these characters, and, like, the DC ones, not so much.
Yeah. Well, I'll agree with you there with Black Panther. I've criticized the end fight. I thought they could have went more smart with that fight. Like, people always argue with me. They're like, "Oh, you didn't like Guardians 2 as much as you like the first one." I was like, "That's because the first end fight, quote unquote, is actually genius with the dance off, and the second one turns into let's just punch each other into the ground in giant Pac-Man." I'm like, "There's more like of the hero being a smart hero to me in the first fight." You know, I feel like there's some weight behind it.
So basically, it just comes down to certain people, or people don't like it when heroes are just relegated to trying to overpower each other.
Mm-hmm.
Shay, like, like the whole Guardians tube is another great example of that. It just turns into weightless punching. And in fact, it does the same thing as Man of Steel. You get like the over-the-shoulder shaky cam. It's just like, oh no, can you see what you're actually doing?
Right, and like you watch the first Guardians, they're like, we're gonna take the stone and we're gonna hold it because we've learned our lesson, and the galaxy, if it means us dying to save these people we don't even really care about because all we want is a payday, we'll do it. That right there to me spoke so much. It's like, dude, these guys learn how to be heroes. Where in 2, it's like punch, 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 punch. I get it. There's a thing going on where they're trying to blow him up and he has to keep punching him. But you could have handled it in a better way. Same thing I say about Black Panther. I get the tone. Look, they're fighting in an underground railroad. I get it. I get what you're trying to say. I'm not missing the point of the fight. What I'm saying is it felt weightless, literally, because there was a lot of CG. But it could have been handled better because when the fight starts in the underground, to the moment where Killmonger is sitting there looking at the, sun, and he delivers that line, in between there, it's just hollow punching each other with not much in between. And you're just like, you could have done better than this. Like, I think a lot of comic book movies have started to suffer from that, but at the same time, like, you lose Infinity War or you use Spider-Man Homecoming, where they don't have that problem. So, like, it's weird. It's the set piece, really, because a lot of them just get back to the whole, we need to give people a giant action sequence because that's what they want. And then sometimes it gets a little boring, in my opinion, so.
I'm just trying to think if any other Marvel movies had it. I'm trying to think of Iron Man, because if anything's going to have it, it would be Iron Man.
Oh, Iron Man 2, sort of, like.
Yeah, but at the same, like, when they're standing in that little, like, Chinese bit or whatever little garden was, they did think, like, yes, it's just a bunch of drones, but I don't know, they did, like, the interesting bit, you had, like, the old oil splatter on the face, like, you kind of felt what was going on. Like, you had character moments that, like, is insane as well. Like, even in the Guardians 2 end fight, you had the character moments in there. So it made up for what was going on, but I can't think if there is any other fight like that in the Marvel ones. I don't think there is.
I'm trying to think of Thor: The Dark World, but the movie keeps blanking on my mind. I remembered it's just them punching each other through realities at one point.
Yeah, but even then, you had like this whole humor injected into it, and
Yep.
I mean, you probably could say that one actually as well. Like, I can't really remember that one.
Don't worry, nobody will fault you if you don't remember The Dark World.
I remember the albeit, and when he hits the window and slides down, and when he gets in the wrong train in the tube.
Yeah.
No, got to make that joke.
Yeah. So, I don't know what do you guys think DC could do to fix it? Because remember, Marvel said when they heard the music criticism from, I believe this is the same dude that did it, because he criticized Marvel's music choice, and he also criticized their choice of color with how it kind of, they're like, well, we looked at those, and then for Thor Ragnarok, we're like, well, we're just gonna go, as hard Jack Kirby as we can, and then the music was synthwave, which really sticks out. Like, everybody goes, dude, the music in Thor. I was like, yeah, right. Like, it's so different. I think
I would never understand the color grading one. Like,
I didn't either.
Like, there's so many variables he's not taken into account.
Yep.
Like, two different monitors aren't the same. Like, Samsung and Sony, their colors aren't the same settings. Like, Samsung's far more muted than a Sony.
So I can actually attest to this right now, because my main PC is connected to two monitors. My left one, which is the primary, number one, the colors are calibrated like white is white. If I drag the same screen halfway onto the second monitor has this yellow tint, and even if I copy the properties over from one and put it on the other, it still remains. So it just connected to the same graphics card on the same PC. Depending on where I watch it, the colors and the blacks and the grayscale is completely different on one monitor. So, and then it depends on what source you're getting. Are you ripping a Blu-ray, a 4K? Did you download it somewhere? What was the encoding like? So, I've never understood the thing either, you know?
It's like, what are his Photoshop settings? Because that can change it, you know? Like, you can't just look at a movie and be like, oh, look, they're not, that black isn't black.
Yeah.
Because your computer's backlit or your screen's backlit. Unless you've got an OLED or a QLED TV, you're not going to see an actual black.
Exactly.
So, I always found that one weird. The music one, I can kind of agree to some extent. It's like, you know, I quit the music anyway, I always listen to it afterwards.
Well, I will agree with parts of the music one, but when there's a point where it's like people are on the street and they're like, can you hum the Avengers theme or this or this? And he's like, but everybody can hum the iconic 60s Spider-Man theme. I was like, or the Star Wars theme. I was like, well, yeah, those are ingrained in history at this point. You know, like I thought that was an unfair comparison, like completely.
It's also like, let me ask 3 people for these, but 1 for the Marvel ones. It's like, okay, you're kind of skewing.
Right. I mean, if I go out there and one of the arguably greatest themes of all time in like a movie that a lot of people have seen is like a RoboCop or Terminator 2. It has this iconic beat to it when it kicks up that you're like, when you hear it, you know what the movie is. But if I was to ask anybody, like, what's the theme? They'll look at me and be like, I don't know. But when they hear it, they recognize it. So it's that type of thing. Like, the music is subjective also. So, like, I thought the MCU has had quite a few soundtracks that I remember. Like, The Winter Soldier, I remember half the soundtracks in that, and I can hum them because I love that movie, and I thought they fit the tone very well. Like, at the beginning where they're fighting on the Lumerian Star, I was like, dude, this is, like, mind-blowing how good this theme is, so...
Like, just the Winter Soldier theme alone for that, where it's like the screams and everything, making, like, you know, that kind of sunk in my head straight away. I can't remember it at this exact moment, but that's because it's been a while.
Well, see, like John here in the comments asks, what's the theme to Star Trek Voyager? I can actually hum that for you. I'm not gonna, but I love Voyager, so...
So, for the sake of headphone users, we're gonna not do that.
Yep. So, yeah, I mean, we'll get back to talk about this, because I'm assuming at one point or another, the comic book movie, specifically the DC ones, they're gonna change it up how these fights are handled. Hopefully Wonder Woman 2, by the look of it, is gonna deal with things differently, considering it's a different powered villain with Cheetah, so we'll talk about that in a little bit. But next up, we're talking about Dark Phoenix details, more that are coming out, and specifically there was an interview with the guy that plays Quicksilver, Evan Peters, and I thought the interview was the most cringy, we know what's coming, please stop trying to subvert us, because he's like, well, at its core, Dark Phoenix is about how the mutants are all a team now, but is friendship really tight between the ones that want, you know, to take down humanity? So I was like, we get it. Magneto's gonna betray you. For the love of God, it's happened every other movie. Like, come on. Come on.
I mean, I don't know how they could, like, he can actually say it's about friendship when, like, one is just being really edgy throughout the whole entire movie.
Yeah. It's weird.
When I know these characters.
Well, I don't know what are their characters. Can anybody actually describe these characters to me?
No.
Because the first class characters I can kind of describe, you know, Mystique, she's stupid. Charles, clearly, like, and Magneto have a character arc. Beast, I guess, is somewhat of a character. He's been, like, borderlining, no character in character. But the rest of the cast, like, Cyclops, Jean, what was the guy that blew up that they played for comedy?
Havoc.
Like, I was like, those guys are useless. Like, I don't know who in the living hell they are. I don't care about them. The new Nightcrawler, he awful. So, I feel that they're missing something with this X-Men, like, iteration, and this is going to be the last one, make no mistake. So, shouldn't you go out with, like, a bang instead of a, like, whimper and a fall on your face?
Oh, it's a bang. It's just not the one you're going to want.
Gonna say one man's bang is another man's whimper. I don't know. What even is this movie? And apparently, half of the leaks from the week before or whatever are legit, and half aren't. There's a whole thing with like, did Atlanta filming on Twitter make all that stuff up and pretend to be someone else, but someone else said it's all legit, and other people saying it's legit, and then it's not right. So I don't know what the fuck is going on.
So I can, without a shadow of a doubt, I've talked to a friend of mine who looks at reactions from screenings. I can tell you about 70% of what was said is legit.
No.
So I don't know if this is pre-reshoots or whatever version they were screening. He doesn't know either because he gets them randomized and they don't even tell him what movie it is, but he's able to pick up on it due to some of the reactions when he's entering data. So he's like, oh, I see what this is. So he's told me without a shadow of a doubt, there's a bunch of that's true. Now, I don't know how much can really be, in the final version, but from what I've also heard, and I think many people are definitely going with this, is Fox has just outright told them, look, you're not completing this trilogy. Disney's not going to complete it, and we're going to be bought out by then, so wrap it up in this. So part of the reshoots are to wrap up this universe. So you have to then also bookend everything you started building, which granted isn't much considering you literally build a movie with a little, I guess, teaser Easter egg or something.
Build it up and destroy it in the next movie.
Yeah.
Well, hope that's all I can ask for. Poor Noah Hawley though. Like, I finished my script. I was too late.
Yeah. And what else I don't like is recent interviews, like Evan Peters again and like another cast member. They're like, oh, because the other people are like, well, this is a movie. You're gonna see like how the X-Men are really broken down and they're torn apart and things are different. And then Evan Peters and another actor are like, this is a fun movie. You're going to be laughing and having fun. I was like, you're exactly contradicting everything that the other dude said. Like, what? Oh, damn.
Everyone didn't get the memo?
Apparently not. And the thing is, if you go back and watch Apocalypse, which I hope you don't do, just go watch the deleted scene because the mall scene is the best scene in that movie and it was taken out of the movie. So it's like, well, you guys picked your battle the wrong way, I guess.
Because who cares about characters in the X-Men movie? Not about that at all.
It was all about Wolverine in those 20 seconds he was in it.
Oh yeah, well he runs out and like, were they?
He runs out butt ass naked into the snow.
Yes.
He had his shorts on. They didn't even go that far.
Can anybody remind me why they were up there in that movie?
Because what's his name? Stryker? Is that the guy that has been in?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think.
Stryker comes in and does the thing and takes them.
See, like the only thing I remember in that movie is Apocalypse having platform shoes so he can be taller than Magneto, and then like Apocalypse going in dry and what's his name screaming when he can't get back to his wheelchair, and I was like, oh, this is bad. Oof.
Apocalypse having a fashion sense.
Yeah.
To look fabulous.
He was wearing like those 2002 Marilyn Manson platforms. Pretty legit. Oh, God. I don't know. Dark Phoenix, man. I know people are like, oh, you guys just want it to fail. Well, yeah, because the last one was terrible. Like,
I mean, I'm going to say I don't want any movie to fail. I'm not going to see it because I'm not supporting this movie. But if you want these movies to fail, it's kind of like, oh, no more comic movies. Not that it's going to happen because Disney's buying everything, so we're going to get them anyway.
Yeah. And I know people are like, I've seen this argument pop up there. Well, look, if the X-Men fail and they make like $400 million and the movie doesn't even make its budget back, it's a damaged brand when Disney gets it back. And I'm just like, oh, right. Just like the Amazing Spider-Man. Just like that, guys. You know,
I mean, they just need to pick out some characters that people would like or would like to see and make a coherent story, and bam.
How about a proper Cyclops? 20 years, we still haven't had him. Hype.
We haven't had a proper anyone.
Yeah.
But isn't the brand damaged already?
I mean, it's been damaged.
The Apocalypse kind of did exactly that.
Yep. It was a mess of apocalyptic proportion. Goddamn. We're just gonna get off this topic right now and go to the next one. So, anyway, so the DC Film Universe, is that what DCFU stands for?
I think so. I just keep seeing people call it that, so I just put it.
Yep, that's what I've seen it called now on Twitter.
I don't know what it's called anymore at this point because I don't know what they're doing.
All right, so the DC Film Universe, they're doubling down on the Suicide Squad sequels or prequels or whatever with Jared Leto's Joker.
Why? Like, no one wanted this?
No one wanted a Joker solo movie to begin with, but now we have to.
Well, I'm like, why would you want two different iterations of Joker? I mean, wouldn't you want to, like, condense it to, like, one defining version?
Because here's the thing, they don't know what the fuck they are doing.
Not at all.
Batman and Joker sell. That's all they know. So they're going to double down on that until something that's in development makes money.
So does Batman actually sell? Because I've gotten some recent reports just in regards to superheroes, right? Spider-Man is still leading with Batman in second place. Spider-Man in the last quarter, so the last fiscal year, which is like March of last year to March of this year, Spider-Man products worldwide have beat Batman, who's in second place, by a factor of 4.1. So every 4 Spider-Man products that are sold, 1 Batman product is sold. I'm like, holy hell. Like, that is ridiculous.
Here's how I'm going to look at that. If we can't say Batman sells, then we can't say anyone sells.
Yeah.
Like, you know, a lot of these, no. If second place, the place isn't selling, then God help the rest of them.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, surely it's always been that way, isn't it? Like, Spider-Man's been in front.
Oh, he's been number 1 for about 20 years.
Yeah.
It's like, kind of.
So, here's the question I want to ask you. If like Warner Brothers went, all right, we're flying you guys into our headquarters, tell us what movies you want. And if they told you, out of all the things they could develop, they're like, Jared Leto Joker movie. Who is the target audience when majority of the people I've seen talk about that movie absolutely hated his portrayal?
Hot Topic.
That's got to be it.
We'll go to Hot Topic, and they transverse Tumblr on a daily basis.
And
I can't think of another. I can't think of another audience that would want this movie apart.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, like it's basically like the edgy crowd who wants to have some type of confirmation of what a crazy relationship is, even though it's really just a toxic and damaging one that no one wants.
Yeah, I don't even believe that those people want this movie.
yeah.
I like to think people are smarter than that.
So,
You know,
I mean, you think people would be smarter, but yet we get videos on the internet where people are lighting themselves on fire, not once, but twice.
no, I know the reality we live in. That's not in my head. I like to think of positively.
Man, you need to get your head out of the sand, man.
For literally my own sake, if I start actually paying attention to that, I might go insane. You know, it's just another one of the 30 movies they announced that are 3 are gonna get made. It's what they every year. It's like, oh, here's a movie, then they'll move on to the next one and forget about it. They've done that since Man of Steel. So,
see, my fear is that they're going to actually make this one, and the whole reasoning behind it is it's cheap. This movie would be cheap, and I think that's how they're looking at it. Here's what they're doing right now. They're like, okay, who has a contract that we sign them for? And they're like, well, Margot Robbie, okay, she's in this movie. Then they're like, well, there's Jared Leto. Okay, so how about we make this a hard rated R Joker movie? Oh, because the rated R is selling, and someone in the room is like, but they don't want to listen to them because all the dude at Fox, who's an accountant, who's looking at numbers coming in, is looking at rated R movies and how much money they're making, regardless of quality, and he's going, so rated R is in and everybody will see it. But that's not how it goes.
I mean, even the most scary version of Joker isn't really the rated R version. Like, most people got scared of the Batman, the cartoon series, where they gave Joker some serum that made everyone have that creepy ass smile, and people remember that more than him actually killing people.
Mm.
That one. I mean, I don't know. I suppose Joker could work in an R, but at the same time, people praise Letters. Yeah, he's Joker. That was a PG-13 one.
Yep.
Yes, he killed a guy with a pencil in the PG-13 movie. You don't need to be rated R.
Well, you also don't need Jared Leto, but for some reason we're gonna get it. And don't get me wrong, I don't want people to call me out. Jared Leto is a fine actor. In some roles, he completely blows you away, but what he had in Suicide Squad was not even a functioning script or a role. So maybe that held him back, but his version of Joker is not something I want to see further explored.
I mean, not even Joker would find method acting that quite funny if he's sending dead rats to his castmates.
No, that doesn't scream Joker to me.
No.
It's like, that's not what he'd do. Like, what's funny about that? Like, that's just me, what do I know? I don't know, I'm just sitting there waiting for the next stupid movie they're going to announce. It's going
Well, reminder, every time we talk about DC, I say, and we'll catch up next week when they announce the new movie that's never getting made and it's dumber than the last one. So I'm just going to say that this time because it seems to be a bi-weekly thing.
So another Cyborg movie?
It's a Cyborg movie has maybe... I don't know.
Well, you can be a buddy cop with the Flash.
Exactly, easy. Sorry.
Well, I mean, did you guys see, like, Ava DuVernay, she commented on how she got the job to do New Gods?
No, I heard her give, like, the whole, oh yeah, I'm working on the script update that everyone ran with, but...
So she was actually, like one of those late-night talk shows kind of doing the rounds. They're like, oh, so you're doing New Gods? And she's like, yeah, I'm working on the script and everything. They're like, how'd you get it? She goes, well, I was on Twitter and I just contacted Warner Brothers and they contacted me back and said, write a script. I was like, really? That was it? Like,
I mean,
that's how we're doing it now, guys? We're not even going to meet with these people? Just be like, come bring us a script or an outline on what you got, and maybe we'll toss it out there. It's like, that's so... Come on. Like...
I mean, that's one way to do it. Why not? Not that it's probably the best way to do it. At least she likes the New God characters.
Mm-hmm.
She's always said Big Barda's her favorite, so...
True.
There's something with that.
And then, for a second, though, I just want to talk about DC's future. This Comic-Con, once again, people are expecting a DC panel. You're not getting it. They're going to be a 15, 20-minute blurb in the Warner Brothers panel, just so people are very aware of this. Realistically, you're going to get Gal Gadot on stage. They'll show off the first picture of her, the first poster or something. Aquaman will release the trailer worldwide, and Shazam will show one only for there. Is there any expectations that they're going to announce some sort of slate or something?
No. You also got the actors that come out waving and walk off.
I mean, I hope they don't announce a slate because every time they potentially do, it never irons out because they end up taking stuff off and putting other things on that really shouldn't be on there.
But how funny your year makes. Last year was saying they need a slate. This year it's like, what's the point? It's just going to.
I mean, after so many changes, it's basically what's the point of you announcing this stuff if you're not going to follow through with it?
Well, I mean, if they haven't followed through, so what was the last DC movie that came out? Justice League in November, and then the one after it is Aquaman in November again or December, and then you have Shazam, which we don't know if that's connected to anything. We don't know how that's whatever, and then Wonder Woman next November. There's so many gaps in there that I think you're getting left in the dust by the competition. When there's a problem when the Foxmen are lapping you 3 times around.
Yeah.
So
but they've got their fair share of problems with pushing movies back a year. So
how about that Gambit?
What Gambit? You talking about the new Destiny game mode, or?
Sure.
Oh, I mean, that was actually pretty fun. That game is actually cool. I'm hyped for that one.
Remember the Days of Future Past San Diego Comic-Con panel where Channing Tatum was on stage? That was 4 years ago.
Me and Joe have laughed about that quite a bit. It's just remember that?
Oh.
They tried. Bless them, they tried. Um,
Bart
but
Simpson, at least you tried. .gif.
yeah. But take bets. What's going to be the next movie they announce? Because we've already got we've got Harley Quinn, we've got Joker, we've got Birds of Prey. I can't remember the other ones we got.
We got Lobo. We got Nightwing.
Yeah, New Gods. I think Green Lantern's still supposed to be happening.
Yeah, the Green Lantern Corp.
Because that was potentially what was going to be after Wonder Woman.
I can't remember.
So here's what's in development: Nightwing,
Black Hawk.
Deathstroke, some sort of version of Titans was ordered for a script. Wonder Woman 2, Cyborg. Rumor is Hawkman and Hawkgirl, since they put an embargo on them appearing in the CW shows. Yeah, Green Lantern, Batgirl, The Flash, Swamp Thing had a script order, but that's probably just being relegated to the actual TV universe now. Harley Quinn, Booster Gold. Yep, I remember that was a thing that was happening. Oh boy, Deadshot is probably dead, right?
Yeah, probably at this point. Yeah.
Black Adam.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And Mick said he thought they announced a Catwoman. I'm like, please no, I don't want a Catwoman movie.
Well, there's also Birds of Prey and Lobo.
Yeah. I think Birds of Prey's actually having a slight bit of development at the minute. I'm not.
That's probably going to happen.
Yeah. So wasn't there something like about was it Black Canary having an actor this last week?
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Ooh, John in the comments suggests Batman Incorporated is happening. I bet you it is. That seems like the perfect opportunity. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
No. Can't handle.
I'm surprised they haven't announced a Red Hood movie.
Oh my god. Can you imagine all the edgy Hot Topic Spencers? Oh my god. Oh.
But out of all the things, why would you not?
Being real, I'm surprised they haven't announced an Injustice movie.
Well, they've already done Injustice, that's why.
True. I mean, the story in Injustice was actually better than the Injustice movie they did. It was called Justice League, but... yeah. What a time to be alive. And
they should have just let Snyder do his 5-movie plan and end it.
True.
Because it's going to end in 2 movies anyway. So.
Yep. So then, guys, on to our final topic here. The big discussion this week, Avengers 4 concept art ended up leaking. Now, here's the thing. Official or not, this is real concept art. So, it might not be the one they go with, but this is very much real.
I was kind of confused when I saw it. Is this either a time skip, or is this different versions of the Avengers coming together?
I'm going to assume this is the actual our Avengers.
Same.
Yeah. I imagine this is toy art. It looks like toy art. It doesn't look like a keyframe concept art to me. But no, toy art tends to be slightly different anyway. Like on concept art, look at the Thanos one. We've had that Thanos was at the start of Infinity War.
Yep. Well.
Why people are raving about this one? It's we've seen this. He had a sword in the Black Order Infinity War poster. That was never in the movie. We've seen that, or a slightly different version of that armor in Infinity War.
Mm-hmm.
So, unless he's getting it back slightly differently, I doubt it. But we've already seen that one.
Yeah, and so people just kind of understand how this is, how they deal with this. Marvel and every big movie studio for all movies, they hire tons of conceptual artists. These guys come in and they give you their version. I buy all the Marvel Cinematic Universe art books, and in there you're going to see oh, this is T'Challa. And there's 10 different artists that have done different renditions of what they thought their version of T'Challa would look like in this scene. And then there's the one they go with. And sometimes they're minor, sometimes they're big, but the general consensus is if you look at that roster, what they have right there, and you look at it to who's left over, and what they've said about which characters are going to get the spotlight in the movie, this lines up 100%. This is definitely either rejected or official concept art that leaked out there. Now it's oh, well, I guess that's out there.
I'm going to say it's official. It's the one that, you're going to see some toys everywhere purely because Cap has the scales.
Yep.
The last 2 movies, they had blueballed everyone with those. I'm more inclined to believe this is what we're going to be seeing everywhere. Also, I like Hulk in a onesie. I think it works.
Yeah.
Especially they merge Banner and Hulk. I think it works. I have a
Isn't that what Amadeus is going to be doing in the current Champions run?
Is he merging with the Hulk? I haven't.
If I remember correctly, is that he finally gained control over the power, and he's going to be in a onesie at this time, but he's not as hulking as he used to be.
Yeah.
It's like it's more of like what happened with She-Hulk, where she's like a slimmer down version of Hulk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the way I think about it, it's like this concept art, clearly it's an indicator it came from an actual artist. Like, and I think it gives us an idea of what we're kind of looking at, what we can kind of expect. Now, going into what the story is, clearly there's a lot of stuff that's unknown and a lot of stuff that you can say maybe matches up or anything, or how things end up playing out. But when you look at it, it has this weird, how do I say it? It's like Infinity War had this as well, where you look at that first picture they released of like San Diego Comic-Con last year, where you have to put the posters together, and you look at it, you're like, yeah, okay, I see what you're doing. It has almost that quality of it, where it's always that like art poster that they do. Like, I don't know what the best way to describe it is.
I wouldn't say this is the same as that one, to be perfectly honest. I don't think you'll have this as a poster for anything.
Oh no, probably not. Yeah.
Mainly because, I don't know, it doesn't look like the other connecting posters.
Mm-hmm.
In this, they're all huddled together. The connecting posters, they're either in groups or they're separated.
Yeah.
So you can have like, here's 1, here's 2, here's 3.
This reminds me of that first art that leaked of Ant-Man and the Wasp and such, where you're like, yeah, this almost looks in line with all those. And like the ones that leaked for Spider-Man Homecoming, like they almost have that same quality feel to it, which is like, it is what it is. And for people that might wonder how these things leak, right now, the toy manufacturers already know what many of these characters are going to look like in their weapons from some conceptual art. They get sent this in advance because they have to make the molds, and they have to start producing these figures at millions upon millions in quantity to be able to hit store shelves months before stuff. That's why, like, you go to Toy Fair in February, you literally see Bumblebee toys for the Bumblebee movie coming in December, because you have to have that production scale, and Disney's been typically holding it back, but that's why we get all these leaks on merchandise first, because the toys leak,
Well, because, it only takes one person to, slightly tilt their camera phone and just take a couple pics and send it online. It's as easy as that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we said that, like, earlier on, this might not even be what they look like in the final thing.
Yeah.
Like, toy companies get early concept art. You look at all the Black Panther stuff, he is black and blue. He's actually black and blue.
Well, this concept art, hopefully the Wasp didn't get bug zapped.
So, Evangeline Lilly has said multiple times she only has a minor appearance in Avengers 4. So, make of that what you will, but,
It's in the third act. The rest of the movie, now. You need to get Scott involved somehow. I think we all know how Scott's going to have to be involved in this. It might be a weird way to end that movie. You guys will find out way before me.
So, here's the big thing about it going into Avengers 4. They cannot ignore the fact that everybody wants to see every superhero together for one sequence, or standing together for that perfect money shot.
Yeah.
They have to have that. So guaranteed, like, Wasp or someone, she's going to be back for that and things like that. So they got to have that one sequence where it's every single hero united on the screen. Because if you don't get it, then you go from Infinity War, where they're all separated, to Avengers 4, they're all still separated, and we never see them all together. It's like, that's kind of cheap and missing the point of what we want, right? Like, we want that big celebratory Shaw and Cap screaming, Avengers Assemble, and all of them behind him, right? Like, that's the big thing.
Yeah, I will put actual money on this happening. They will redo the Avengers 1 scene.
Yep.
You are going to have the main 6 in a circle. It's going to do the pan around, and it's going to follow everyone, and then it's going to splinter off into more people. and that is going to be your third act.
Yeah.
Why would you not? Like, we know they're going back to these old things, so they're going to be like hinting at other things from like the past Avengers movies and past like standalone. So you have to pay it off somehow. You pay it off with your most iconic shot.
Yep.
And that iconic shot is that third act.
I mean, people still, when you talk about like what's one of the most iconic shots in a superhero movie, that Avengers camera pan is up there. Like that shit, like that scene told you what the movie is about. You didn't need sound or nothing. You just saw that, you're like, oh my god, I get this movie. Like that sold it to you. And then Age of Ultron kind of did the you know, like the side jump scene, and that was kind of cool. Infinity War has them separated, but Avengers 4, when they do that, it's like you pan around the original and then the camera pulls out and it starts panning and it's all of them in a circle. Your mind is just going to blow up being like, so that's what it's been, you know, leading to for 11 years now. So it's
also, it's a nice way to show how far you've come.
Oh yeah.
These characters have come like, look, we're going to do the exact same thing again, but look how different they are when you put them side by side.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's going to be a lot less color compared to the first Avengers, because they're most black now. So can we just point out how good War Machine looks?
Oh my god.
Looks like a War Machine. He look like they've gone, we want the Ultimates one. Give me the tick with a face.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's not the actual final look, I'm going to be mad.
Yeah, they've nailed it really with that one. So, yeah, overall, I think there's a lot to appreciate in this art, and we're going to find out how it shakes out in the long run. So now we're just going to take a couple of Q&As like we've been taking for a while. Here's a good one. So Cloak and Dagger is coming out this week. I'll probably just review, at one point I'll review like the pilot just by myself, and then I'm assuming you and Joe are going to end up talking about it obviously on Past the Remote, so...
I mean, I'll be crying for like 20 minutes.
Dude, the show looks so good. Have you seen the reviews? They're through the roof on that show.
I'm trying not to look at them, because I don't want to be...
Okay.
Unless what I'm expecting, I'm going to be upset.
Okay. B here wants to know, what do we think, why Marvel likes to front load the beginning of the year with their movies from January to May?
I don't think they do like to front load the year. This is the first time they've done it.
Well,
no, March, Guardians was an August, September movie, and then Doctor Strange and Thor have been November, December. Or October. So
it seems like for the next 2 years, like this year and next year, it's really doing that, because next year, again, we have Captain Marvel, then we have Avengers and Spider-Man, all within 5.5, 6 months of each other, which I think that's just kind of how it happens.
Yeah.
But
I think it might have a Star Wars thing as well, where it's like, look, Star Wars is going to be the end of the year, even though Solo kind of goes against that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Star Wars is this end of the year, Marvel is this end of the year. And then, like, we're in the middle of the year. I think that might be something, but for the most part, the Marvel movies have been spread throughout the year from what I remember. So...
yeah, because they've been trying to spread them out, which makes a lot of sense, and I think just by looking at it, that's just how it lands sometimes. It's like, well, this is just how we're gonna have to do it. And don't forget, pretty soon, when Fox and everything is in the wheelhouse, there's gonna be a lot more, like a lot more of this whole. Oh man, there's a Marvel movie. You're probably gonna be getting a Marvel movie realistically every 7 to 8 weeks. So
yeah, every 4 months, split in that way.
It's gonna get kind of ridiculous, because you're probably gonna be looking at 4 to 5 movies a year. So
yeah,
it's...
I could see them easily doing 4. I think 5 might be a stretch. Breaks everyone, but I think 4 people can kind of handle. Depends how they handle the other movies as well. But...
yeah.
Also, it might, if you do 4 or 5, you might have to start going into January, which is a graveyard.
I still say somebody needs to conquer September. September is right there. October and November now are blockbuster months. So isn't July and August. September is typically seen as dumping months. If you were to throw something cheaper budgeted there, I think you could conquer that month. But everybody seems to stay away from it.
It's hard for September, because that's when schools go back. At least over here.
Oh, that's how it is here too.
Yeah, so it's a tricky one, because everyone's in there getting into full swing of things. So.
So that was then 2 questions, which is typically what we're looking to take, which will bring us to the end of the podcast, which has been just about an hour. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. As always, make sure you guys check out the Patreon. Logan commentary, more coming out, sooner rather than later. Eventually, Blade 2, I'm not making promises, but eventually it will happen. Even if it's just me, drunk, pointing a microphone at myself, watching Blade 2, it'll happen.
I mean, I'm sure some people will pay for that.
Oh, yeah. It's like when Sean did frickin' Dylan Dog like 3 times in a row solo. People were just like, oh, what is wrong with this dude?
He really likes that movie.
Oh, he loves Dylan Dog. And Sean is now a professional wrestler, so look where Dylan Dog brought him.
Well done, Sean.
Yep.
So good.
So, thank you for joining us for the podcast, everybody. We'll, of course, be back next week. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And make sure you guys, like the YouTube version. Let us know why we're wrong. And all that good stuff you guys do every week. Because that's what happens.